at the start, he's rubbing a banana on a cardboard cutout with Katie, which was an absolute mess. Come on, Karl. Everybody knows you gotta warm up the oven first before you stick the entree in. Hi everyone, my name is Dimitri and welcome back to DimitriTube, The Bachelorette, Night 2. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're enjoying my videos, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. So this week's episode was confusing and slightly frustrating. Let's just dive in and talk about it. Also, if I skip over anything in the episode, it's just because I didn't find it that interesting. This is not an hour-long podcast. I really can't go over every single thing in the episode because I try to keep these videos somewhat short. And if there's something in the video I did not talk about, but you want to ask me about it, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Also, is this camera too close? Let me back it up a bit. Is that better? I don't know. New YouTuber here. So the episode starts off with a group date and the guest is Heather McDonald. For the group date, the guys take a sex quiz and they also have to show who is the best lover using props. Also, almost forgot this, when Katie first met up with the guys, her boots and jacket were really cute. And while on the topic of fashion, we are on episode 2 and I am already sick of these oversized sweaters. Katie, stop serving them to us. We don't want them. Okay, so first up, I want to talk about Quartney. Quartney is a really nice guy and I'm pretty sure he's a gentleman, but something about him is slightly creepy and slightly weird to me, especially during this quiz part. I think it's just the way he talks. He has a southern accent, but he has a very long drawl. Like, he just takes a while to get his words out, and I just find it very annoying. Next is Mike the Virgin. So this date revolves around sex, and of course they gotta put Mike the Virgin on it. And of course he starts freaking out because he's never had sex before. The producers clearly did this on purpose for a storyline because they could have easily put him on the other group date where they were just mud wrestling. I'm just tired of this storyline, but for some reason ABC keeps milking it. We've seen this before with Colton, Ashley I, and Luke P, and for some reason ABC just loves doing it. Mike turned this into something it really didn't need to be. Like, he ended up crying on the first group date. Anyways, moving on. So for the second part of the group date, the guys have to use props to show why they are the best lover. Did anyone else think this group date was like super easy? All you have to do is just make Katie laugh in some way and she'll love it. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but I'm gonna go over the ones I thought were the most interesting. First up is Connor Bees. Loved it. He wrote her a little song, he had sexual puns in it, and he played the guitar and the piano. I absolutely loved it. But I will say, I do have a soft spot for like artists. So if you're a musician or you're like a painter or you draw something for me, I'll eat it up. Next up is Christian. I loved Christian's, but also it could be just because I think he's hot. So Christian literally said he's gonna clean the house, do the dishes, and take out the litter box so they have extra time too, and he pauses and pulls his pants off. Now this one was the smartest one. Like, no shade here, but I don't think Katie is really that hard to impress. I'm pretty sure Katie is a feminist and they love this sort of thing.
Oh my god, you're gonna split the household duties 50-50 with me? I love you.
And Katie seems like she's anything but traditional, so it was really smart for Christian to do that because that's right up her alley. Now, the only read I do have is that this was smart, but it really didn't say much about Christian outside of the fact that now Katie knows what his looks like. Next, we have Trey. He did a little puppet show and made it funny, and you knew Katie was gonna eat that up. Next up is James. He did in a box. I guess boxes are just gonna be a running theme with this guy. That's the only one that I really wish we could have seen more of. Like, did he just walk on stage like that? Or did he take his clothes off? Like, I really wanted to know more. Next is Karl. During his performance, it was pretty clear to me why he was still single. So Karl gives a motivational speech, and at the start, he's rubbing a banana on a cardboard cutout with Katie, which was an absolute mess. Come on, Karl. Everybody knows you gotta warm up the oven first before you stick the entree in. And during the rest of Karl's speech, he throws some of the other guys under the bus. And I really don't like when people do that. The challenge is to showcase yourself, and to do that, you don't need to throw other people under the bus. On top of that, Karl is very competitive and he's been very vocal about it through a lot of this episode. Now, when it comes to The Bachelorette, I don't think being competitive is necessarily a bad thing. From what I've seen in previous seasons, usually it works in their favor. It doesn't really work on The Bachelor, but I think it does work somewhat on The Bachelorette. I think it's just a male-female thing. Like, a lot of girls like to see a guy put up a fight. And a lot of people on Twitter and the internet were saying that Karl was not here for the right reasons, but I don't think that's the case. I just think this dude has zero self-awareness. Next, we have Justin, who gives Katie a foot massage. For me, this was the second smartest one, because y'all know Katie's a tomboy and always wears flats, and ABC put her in pumps, so I'm sure she was living for that foot massage. Lastly, we have Mike the Virgin. Mike pulls out his diary and shares an entry from it. Mike basically shares the qualities he always wondered his future wife would have, and then at the end, he admits he's a virgin. So Mike the Virgin ended up winning the competition, and it was clear to me that production forced Katie to make Mike the winner. You could tell that Katie wasn't really feeling it, because after Mike shared his entry, Katie was like,
"I'm so beautiful."
Katie is not very good at hiding her emotions, and you could see the one she was enthusiastic about it. She gave Connor B a standing applause. You could tell she really liked Christians too, and later on in the episode, she tells Trey how much she loved his puppet show, and just from the way she was telling him this, you could tell she was way more excited about that puppet show than Christian's diary entry. Honestly, Connor B should have won, but if Christian or Trey won, I wouldn't have been mad about it. Okay, so now we're going into the cocktail party. I swear y'all are gonna say I'm too harsh on Katie, but when it comes to this dress, I really did not like this dress on her. I feel like this dress she's wearing is more meant for a girl with a big chest, not really what Katie has, and I just don't think it was a good choice. First up, we have a one-on-one with Katie and Connor B. During the one-on-one, Katie says that Connor B is the first guy that she actually remembered, and that is a big deal. Especially because if these limo exits were in order, Connor B was like very down the line, and for her to remember him so vividly, she's feeling him. And then later on in the conversation, Connor B is like, I think we should redo our kiss, you know, without the cat ears. And they kiss, but I just thought that was so corny. Next, we have a one-on-one with Karl. So Karl is clearly a talker. The conversation flowed and he was really smooth. And he's a little too corny for me, but Katie was very much into that. Next, we have a one-on-one with Thomas. I'm sorry to break it to y'all, but they have no connection. So Katie is like kind of shy around him, probably because she just thinks he's cute, and Thomas just showers her in compliments, but there's like no connection between them. And this is not even me being shady, but I think Katie is not used to getting a ton of compliments like how Thomas is doing. So that makes her a little more shy and bashful around him. So Thomas ended up getting the rose, but I think he only got it to later on start more drama with Karl. Because to me, it seemed like Katie had better one-on-ones with Trey and Connor B. And last thing, I really like Thomas's jacket. That was really cute. I really like that color. Next, we're going on a one-on-one with Greg. For their date, Katie picks up Greg in a red pickup truck and they go fishing. This date was just so low budget, and I honestly would have been so mad if this was my date. So on the way to the date, Greg says he loves the outdoors and loves fishing, but then later on in the episode, he doesn't know how to pitch a tent. I thought that was slightly suspicious, but I'm not gonna dive too deep into that. Okay, so while they're on the way to the date, Katie drove the red pickup truck, and I do wanna just unpack this real quick. So I do think Katie should have let Greg drive. This is just a personal opinion, but I do think you need to let a man be a man, and I think Katie has problems doing that. So guys have egos. We do. And sometimes you just gotta stroke that ego. And this would have been a perfect opportunity for Katie to let Greg take the wheels. It's not even just in driving. So yesterday, Katie posted a tweet with a picture of her next to her vibrator with a funny face on it, and the tweet said, "Alexa, play Irreplaceable by Beyonce." Alexa, stop. Now, it's possible that Katie just meant this as a joke, but if you're a guy dating Katie and you look at that, it kind of hurts your ego because you're just like, wow, I'll never be able to replace her vibrator. And guys enjoy being needed. It feeds their ego, but it very much seems to me like Katie doesn't want to give into that. To each his own, but I just feel like when it comes to dating, and especially on this show where they tend to have more traditional guys, just let a man be a man. Anyways, moving on to the date with Greg. So I really did not like this date. During the date, Katie and Greg make a bathroom out of a utility bucket. They end up sitting on it and having a chat, and they end up kissing, and Katie says, "We did make out on the toilet. That was hot." So one of the things that I love about this show is the glamorous dates, and this date is anything but glamorous. During the date, Katie says that she loves camping, and camping is very personal to her because it reminds her of her father who previously passed away. I'm pretty sure ABC chose the date, but I found that a little weird. If camping is so personal to you, why would you do that with someone for a first date? Anyways, moving on. So we go to the dinner portion of the date, and Katie and Greg talk about the date, and Greg also talks about how his father passed away 2 years ago. I know the internet and Twitter loves Greg, and y'all are probably gonna read me for this, but Greg during this whole date just did not seem genuine to me. Also, Greg is very hyper aware of the cameras. When he started to cry, he purposely turned away from the cameras, and when you're on a show like this, you very much just have to act like the cameras aren't there. I think Katie is just comfortable around Greg and just feels comfortable confiding in him. I don't think Katie necessarily thinks Greg is the one. Yep, it's that time. Outfit of the episode. This week, the outfit of the episode goes to Caitlin Bristow from the second group date. Normally, this is not an outfit that I would give outfit of the episode, but Katie's not really serving us any fashion, so here we are. Also, I love a themed outfit, and it makes it even better that Caitlin just took it to the next level. Instead of a cowboy hat, she wore an extra large fedora. Her cowboy boots are cow print. She ties a bandana around her neck for a little extra flair, and instead of wearing an expected jeans with a jean jacket, she puts on this like denim bodysuit that's cinched in the waist that shows off her body. She looks very good. I actually like this outfit more than I probably should, but she looks good. Anyways, moving on to the group date. So for the group date, they do Katie's big buckle brawl and the guys mud wrestle. For the mud wrestling, pretty much all of the fights were mismatched. They put Brendan against Hunter, and Brendan is like 220 pounds and Hunter's like 180 pounds. When it comes to boxing, MMA, wrestling, all of that, they have height classes and weight classes for a reason. And they also put Aaron against Cody, which is unfair because I think Aaron is like half a foot taller than him. They really should have put Aaron against Andrew S. That would have made more sense. Because Andrew S. may not be as tall as Aaron, but he is a former football player, so to me that would have been more of an even match. Aaron wins, and it's clear to me that it was staged because they clearly want to dig into the Aaron and Cody drama. So after Aaron wins, he gets some one-on-one time with Katie, and the first thing Katie asks is, what's the drama with Cody? If I was Aaron, I would have been mad because they have had like 0 time together, and when they finally do get some time together, Katie's gonna ask about Cody. Anyways, Aaron says he does not like Cody's socials and says he's there for the fame and the social media clout. Also, Aaron and Katie had 0 connection. If anything, Katie looked super uncomfortable just talking to the guy. Okay, now moving on to the night portion of the group date. So Katie has a one-on-one with Cody, and she brings up what Aaron said, and Cody responds and just says Aaron is lying. Now, this part had the weirdest edit. It was clear to me that Cody is a pawn, and production was just trying to make him look bad. Did y'all see that stuttering part?
The biggest concern for me though was he said that basically you're here for fame.
So after that, Katie finds a space to herself and is thinking out what to do next, and she says, "It is concerning to me that Aaron, who you just said you guys do not even know each other, would then go out of his way so early to say something that's completely not true." Okay. First of all, Katie, Aaron did not go out of his way. You initially brought the information to him. You said you felt a tension between Aaron and Cody. Next, Katie, you don't even know Aaron. So why are you believing him over Cody? So it's clear to me that Cody is just a producer pawn because Katie ends up sending him home. And when she sends him home, Katie's reasoning was, I just felt like he wasn't my husband. And this made no sense because I thought Katie just didn't trust him over what Aaron was saying. If you didn't think he was your husband, that's something completely different. Also, that Uber XL pulled up so quick. We didn't even get a...
Can I walk you out?
Next, we have a one-on-one with Andrew S., and he was the first one to talk to Katie after sending Cody home. So Andrew and Katie have a heart-to-heart, and they both connect on growing up poor. I'm still not seeing a connection between them two. This conversation very much seemed like friends connecting, not really lovers connecting. And after that, they do a montage of Katie having one-on-ones with 4 guys, Kyle, John, Hunter, and Josh. And Katie looked like she was absolutely over it. Okay, so now we're going into the cocktail party. I thought Katie's dress in this was okay. I really do not like the color. It's like, is it a bronze gold or is it like a green? I'm slightly colorblind. Somebody let me know below in the comments. Also, I wish she had her hair in an updo. I really think an updo would have looked better for this. So at the start of the cocktail party, Katie grabs Michael and says she felt a connection and didn't think a date was necessary. After Katie said that, Michael was so relieved to get some reassurance, and you can tell from his demeanor that he was just so excited to talk to her and have a little bit of time with her. During the conversation, Michael says he feels confident, but he's not quite sure why. Maybe it's because he gets rejected a lot. And then later he says, I can see why the guys were talking so highly of you. So I loved this. Michael is an absolute sweetheart. I don't think he's gonna win, but he is such a sweetheart. Next, we have a one-on-one with Thomas. During the one-on-one, Thomas says he's not here to get a rose every week. He's here to see what they can be together. And Katie says she feels something special between them, but she just can't put it into words. So their words are saying one thing, but their body language is saying something completely different. Like, their body language is just so awkward. They hug and Thomas ends up giving her a kiss on the cheek, and the body language was just all off. Like, they don't have a connection. Next, we have a one-on-one with Karl. Karl tells Katie that there are guys who are not there for the right reasons, and Katie gets slightly frustrated and tells Karl to tell her straight up because she does not want to waste her time. Now, I just want to unpack this real quick because this is karma. Come take a trip down memory lane with me. Do y'all remember Matt James's season? So during Matt's season, Katie went to Matt James and told him that there are nasty rumors going around in the house, but Katie did not tell Matt who was starting the nasty rumors. So now the same exact thing is happening to Katie. Karl is saying guys are not there for the right reason, but Karl is refusing to tell Katie who it is. Some of you may argue that this is different because Karl is lying, but is he lying? Now, there are like 25 guys left. Do y'all really think all 25 of these guys is in love with Katie and wants to marry Katie and is absolutely not on this show to get social media fame? I will say this is slightly weird because the way it's framed and edited, it looks like Karl purposely lied, but what he's saying is probably true. I personally think production is just screwing Katie over. Like, I don't know who she upset at ABC, but she pissed off the wrong person. So after that, in a confessional, Katie says that she does not entirely trust Karl because Karl did not give examples. But neither did Aaron, and you trusted him. Y'all, production is just screwing Katie over and trying to make her look bad. So then after that, Katie gives her get out if you're not here for the right reason speech and then grabs Aaron for a chat. At this point, Katie's makeup looks a mess and then the camera zoomed in on her. Like, it is so clear that production is screwing her over. So then Katie is talking to Aaron and she says that she trusts him and asks Aaron if he knows anything. First of all, why do you trust Aaron? You don't even know this man. And second of all, this was a really bad edit. Katie is asking Aaron as if she knows that he knows something, but we really have no proof that he knows something. Also, Katie is questioning Aaron as if he's not there for the right reasons, but a few minutes ago, she said she trusted him. So as Katie is having a one-on-one with Aaron, Karl admits that he's the one who said someone's not here for the right reasons. So all the guys get upset, and Aaron says that Karl had no grounds for bringing that up to Katie, and now she's crying. But Aaron really had no grounds for what he said about Cody either, so that doesn't make sense. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. I'm just gonna leave it there because these arguments are just confusing, and I really think production is just screwing over Katie and trying to make her look bad. But on a brighter note, I will give you my top 4 prediction before I close out this video. This is early compared to when I normally give my top 4 prediction for the season, but whatever, we're gonna go ahead and lock in. I think I know who the top 4 is gonna be. So I think the top 4 is gonna be Trey, Connor B, Greg, and Michael. And some of y'all may say that Trey is like a wild card and I shouldn't have picked him, but Trey is very much into Katie and they have a connection. I will say though, I don't think he's gonna win just because if they had like months to a year to get to know each other, I think they would work. But since this is such a quick process, I don't think he's gonna win. And that is the end of the episode and all I have for you. If you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. And I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Bye.